Okay guys, so today I have three Friedman amps here. I have the Runt, the JJ Jr, and the BE-100. And I'm just going to do a quick dial-in on each one, and then I'm going to compare all three of them with isolated riffs and in a full mix. And at the end of the video, I'm going to pick which one I like the best out of these three amplifiers. Let's get started. Alright, so let's kick things off with the BE-100. I'm going to do a quick dial-in on this amplifier and you'll see everything that I'm doing here. And as you can see, everything's set at noon and the overdrive pedal is off. And what I'm going to do is just dial it in to what I think suits my taste the best. And I'm going to engage the pedal after that, and I'll go ahead and dial it in further if needed. And I'll do the same process on all three amplifiers before you hear them all put up against each other with an isolated riff and a full mix. So what I'm looking for in each one of these amplifiers when I dial them in is I'm trying to get them all to sound as aggressive and nasty as I can get them. At least, they have to suit my taste for my style of playing. And I will get them all to their optimum settings before I shoot them out with the riffs and the mixes. Alright, so that didn't really take long. Now, to be honest, I had this amp here yesterday and dialed it in, so I kind of remembered the settings. I ended up turning the C45 mod on in the back, and that's the only switch I turned on in the back. And as you can see, I got it in HBE mode, which is the higher gain mode, and I have the SAT switch all the way over to the right. It's still not really growling the way I want it to, so I'm going to go ahead and engage the boost on the foot switch here and see if that'll fix that. Alright, that totally did it. It added the gain that I needed. So let's go ahead and engage the overdrive. And you know what? I might as well use the Friedman Golden Pearl because we're playing a Friedman amp. So I'll go ahead and turn that on now. So when you see the overdrive on the screen here, that means the overdrive is engaged. When it's not there, it means it's off. So now that the pedal's on, let's see how the amp sounds. And I'll do any fine tuning I need after that. Alright, so that, in my opinion, is about as nasty as this amp will get, and it actually sounds really good. And the interesting thing is, I ended up putting the SAT switch all the way over to the left, which gave it a little less gain, but I don't know, it just seemed to tighten it up more, and I got a little more clarity out of it. So I just thought I'd let you know about that as well. So let's go ahead and move on to the next amp, which is going to be the Runt. Alright, so now we have the Runt. Let's go ahead and do a quick dial in on this. And this is supposed to be a higher gain version of the Friedman amp. So let's see how much gain it has and how nasty we can get it. Alright, that didn't take long at all. So let's go ahead and kick on the overdrive pedal and see what we got after that, and I'll fine tune it after that if necessary. So what I had to do is I had to hit the boost, which I also did on the BE-100. That's fine. I'm glad that Dave gave us that option because it just adds that extra gain stage that I like. And yeah, it's got some pretty good texture here, and with this amp you can crank the gain all the way up and it doesn't flub out and get muddy, so I do like that. So it's all usable. And you know, I'll tell you, the mid-range on this amp's pretty cool. You can really crank the mids up and it doesn't get really, you know, it doesn't get that honk that a lot of amps get. So it's a pretty usable range of mid-range that you could get out of this amp. I don't think I've ever played this amp before, so this is kind of interesting. And let's see here, what else? Where's the bass? So I got the bass here. I could probably get away with a little bit more bass, but we'll go ahead and engage the overdrive and then we'll see how much bass we need after that. Alright, pretty good. Yeah, this amplifier is a little angrier, in my opinion, than the BE-100. It's got a little more texture on the top end, a little more bite, and I'm kind of digging what's going on with this amplifier compared to the Friedman BE-100 right now. But, I mean, we'll see how everything stacks up in the mixes and riffs later, but so far, I'm really digging this one regarding especially the aggression and texture. Let's do a couple more riffs on it, and then we'll move on to the JJ. Yeah, the pinch harmonics have a little more of a ping to them as well, a little more aggressive. So kind of digging this so far in this lineup. All right, so next let's go ahead and dial in the JJ Jr. and then after that we will do the isolated riffs and full mix on each amplifier. Alright, so without the overdrive pedal, I feel like I got it in a really good spot. It's pretty tight and responsive, and there's some good gain here, and some nice texture as well. So let's go ahead and turn on the pedal, and dial it in further if necessary. Lots of texture. I noticed on the BE-100 the top end is a little softer than the Runt and the Double J. So I'm digging the top end on both of those amps quite a bit more. But because these are smaller amplifiers, they don't have as much low end. So that's why I'm cranking the bass pretty high. I mean, I got it all the way up on this one. And the nice thing too is with the gain, again with the gain structure, just like on the Runt, it doesn't get muddy when you crank it all the way up. So you can go ahead and crank it all the way up even with an overdrive pedal engaged, and you're not getting a bunch of mud and, you know, all that noisy kind of goop that fills in all the notes and glues them all together, which is not what we want. We want articulation, you know, so good articulation. And I do have the JBE switch engaged as well, and definitely adds a little bit of compression, and it feels like it adds a teeny bit more gain or something as well. I don't know, but the feel of the amp got a little better. With it off, it's a little too open for me, but with it on, I definitely enjoyed playing it more. Alright, so now that we have all three of these amps dialed into at least what I think are optimum settings, let's hear how they all compare with isolated riffs and a full mix. so there you have it. We dialed in all three of these amplifiers pretty quickly. It did not take me very long at all to get these amplifiers to sound as good as I needed them to sound for my taste and my type of playing. All three of them took the pedal very well, and I actually think that they benefited greatly from the pedal, as all of my amps do. Some amps take pedals better than others, but all three of these took the pedal like a champ. So basically, here's a quick breakdown. The BE-100 obviously is going to have a bigger sound, more low end, and all that kind of stuff because it's a bigger amplifier. It's got more iron, more tubes, more power, so I expected that. But the top end on all these amps was quite a bit different. Where with the BE-100 you have a softer top end. It does sound good, and it's got a lot of great stuff going on with the chugs and everything. They're very fat, and I do like that. But I did like the aggression in the Runt and the Double J more. There was just this really nice attack and texture in the top end on both of those amps when I compared them to the BE-100. So between the Runt and the Double J, I don't know, man. That's a tough call on which one I liked better as far as the aggression goes. I'm kind of thinking that I might prefer the Double J just a hair over the Runt. I think it's a little thicker on the top end, but that Runt gets really aggressive. It's a really tough choice between those two. I'd almost put them at a tie, to be honest with you, but man, if I had to pick a winner for my taste anyways, I guess today I would pick the Double J, but tomorrow I might pick the Runt. I guess it just depends on what day I'm playing these and what I'm craving that day, but both of them had that really nice aggression on the top end that I like. All amps are going to have at least enough low end for me. You know, I mean, it's hard to find an amp, especially these days, that isn't going to have enough punch. I mean, yeah, I know there's some out there that don't have any, but for the most part, a good amount of low end in an amplifier should be pretty much a given these days. I think what really changes the amp tones and maybe what makes us like them more is the mids and the top end, the way that it's texturized or how soft it is. It just depends on what we're looking for. And I know that there's different types of low end in amps too. You get that really flubby, gooey kind of low end, or you get something that's got a lot of punch and it's tighter, you know. And I think all three of these amps definitely do have enough low end in them, and they're punchy and tight. But yeah, the top end and the Double J and the Runt are what make me like those amps a little bit better. So depending on your taste and what you're looking for in an amplifier, you're going to pick one of these over the other. But if you're looking for something that's got more aggression and you really like that Friedman thing, I would say go more towards the Runt and the Double J. But if you want something that's a little more classic sounding and has a smoother top end, then go for the BEs or the HBEs. I think that would suit your taste more. Well, I want to thank Matt from Motor City for allowing me to use his BE-100, and I also want to thank Motor City Guitar for allowing me to use the Runt and the Double J for this video. And they're a great store, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do this video for you guys. So if you like one of the amps that you've seen in this video, click the link below and go to Motor City and get yourself one of these amplifiers. They ship anywhere in the continental US, and if you buy outside of the state of Michigan, you don't pay any sales tax. Well, to all my subscribers and Patreon supporters, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys. And if you're new to the channel and you really like seeing videos like this where you have unprocessed audio and unbiased reviews of gear, feel free to subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I come out with a new episode. Well, I got a lot more great stuff coming up for you guys. I'll see you on the next one.